How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Steins Linear Bounded Phenogram. We are yet again in another world line. This is our third jump, I believe, or our third world line that we're in. We've jumped now twice with two different D-mails to basically make sure that no one's dead, no one's kidnapped, the building isn't on fire. Like, oh my gosh, there is just so many, like, things going wrong in this route, and we don't even know why. Like, absolutely no clue as to why everything is just going wrong. So, here we are in a completely brand new world line that we have not touched. We gotta get our bearings. So, as Okabe says, or asks, what is the story?
完成したコスを眺めてうっとりしたりとか、ルカ君が着てるところを想像してでへへってしたりとか。
待て、まさかお前ルカ子のところに行ったのか？
行ってないよ。だってオカリンが絶対外に出るなって言ったから。
助手とダルはラボにはいないようだが。
いないね。まだ戻ってきてないんだ。っていうか、今日はもう戻ってこないんじゃないかな。ダル君は銀座に映画を見に行くって言ってたよ、電話で。コード・ジ・アースの劇場版今やってるでしょ。
Oh, wow.
それの18時の回を見るって。
Wonder what that's supposed to be referencing.
クリスちゃんはわからないけど、でもやっぱり戻ってこないと思うな。
どうして？
怒ってたから。
なぜ？
オカリンがいきなり開発評議会は中止だって言い出したからだよ。クリスちゃんもダル君も評議会のための買い出しをしてる途中だったのに、突然2人のところに電話をかけて中止だって。
Aha, now I get it. In order to confirm this, I pulled my cell phone out and checked my mail inbox. Yeah, I was gonna do this anyways, but it'll do it for me. Keep Mayuri. In to stop. Kidnapping. Stop summit. Use no fire. Lab will burn. And I sent the 3 D-mails at the bottom, or more accurately, the one email split into 3 parts from Mayuri's phone in the first world line. At the top are the ones I sent in the subsequent world line in order to prevent the fire. Having received these D-mails around 3:20, I seem to have followed their instructions to a T. First, I stopped Mayuri from going out and confined her to the lab, and then I called Kirisu and Daru to declare that the summit was cancelled. It's no surprise that that would upset them, though. Now that I think of it, is Mayuri aware of her kidnapping? Did my past self tell Mayuri don't go anywhere or you'll be kidnapped? Oh, that's right! Oh my gosh. Something else that happened is that, sure, we did two D-mail jumps, so we've now jumped into a third world line, but once we got to this world line, there was blood everywhere in this lab. So I believe we did a time leap, so now we're earlier in on this one. Now we have to figure out what's going to happen, because something will happen. Judging by her demeanor, that doesn't seem to be the case. Her relaxed, carefree smile doesn't show even a trace of urgency. But that's the way she always is. Her smile is hardly evidence.
オカリン、みたらし団子食べる?
In a blink, Mayuri had a pack of Mitarashi Dango skewers in her hands. One of the 3 packs commonly sold in convenience stores. Mayuri had already grabbed one of the 3 skewers. 2 left. To eat or not to eat? To eat. As I reached out to grab one, suddenly an image resurfaced from the back of my mind. Brought back by the sticky glossiness of the Mitarashi Dango. Blood. The fresh blood all over the lab's floor and walls. Whose blood was that? If what Mayuri said is true, then Kirisu and Daru will not come back to the lab today. Then it could only be one person.
マユリ、今すぐそのみたらし団子をそこに置け。
もう食べ始めちゃったよ。
だったら食べかけの1本はそのままでいい。残りの2本をテーブルに置くんだ。
どうして？
出かけるからだ。
なんで？
なんでもだ。
If we stay here, there's a risk we'll be attacked by someone. No, not a risk. A certainty.
でも絶対外に出るなーってオカリンは言ったよ。2回も。
2回？
うん。1回目はオカリンの携帯にメールが届いた時で、2回目はマユシーの携帯にメールが届いた時。
What?
このメールをオカリンに見せたらそう言ったの。
Mayuri said as she faced her cell phone screen toward me. From Ferris-chan. She received it at 3:26. 4 minutes after I received the Stop Summit message. This D-mail was sent to Mayuri's phone at that time. Yes, this D-mail composed of 3 messages of 12 1-bit characters each. It was clear that it had been sent from the future of a different world line. What is a BLKHD? BLCKHD Blackhead, maybe? No, that seems both unnatural and unnecessary. Why would staying in the lab protect us against bad skin and fight? I envisioned myself putting a massive, poorly washed nose into a grapevine stretch. It was so surreal that it made my eye twitch. The message alone is enough to baffle, but there was another peculiar thing about it. The sender. Ferris-chan. Ferris-chan is how Mayuri addresses Ferris. Why? Why is the kitty girl sending D-mail? Mystery, mystery, mystery. All of this nonsense was enough to make my brain short out in a shower of sparks. Well, there was the, what was it, the second world line that we were in? Weren't we with Ferris for some reason? There was another element that confused me. 2 sentences written in the D-mail. No going out. Lab is safe. They threw me. There's no question that we'll be attacked by someone, or by some enemy if we stay here. But the D-mail that Ferris sent says that the lab is safe. And the strong wording of no going out message only hammers it home. What do I do? What do I do? My thoughts were interrupted by a high-pitched electronic sound blaring from Mayuri's phone. A red message window pops up on the screen. No remaining battery life shutting off. A few seconds later, Mayuri's cell phone went black.
ああ、充電切れちゃったんだ。ところでオカリン、みたらし団子もう1本食べてもいい？
Mayuri asks, her mouth covered with tear sauce. Or whatever that's supposed to be. I sighed my response. I sighed my response, alright.
好きにしろ。
We still have time. The blood in the lab didn't look to have been there for very long. Whatever tragedy occurred likely happened only 15 minutes before I entered the lab, and maybe 30. Even if I thought the attack was an hour before I arrived, we'd still have 40 minutes or so left. With that in mind, I've decided that my internal time limit is half of that, 20 minutes. I need to decide our course of action within that time. Do we stay here, or do I run away somewhere with Mayuri? We'll stay here until our 20 minutes is up. However, given my uncertainty, I decided to check on the phone wave named subject to change / time leap machine just in case. I pointed myself in the direction of the development room. And a certain piece of paper caught my eye. The promissory contract, excuse me. The document that I had just ripped to shreds sat untorn on the desk. That's not a surprise, of course it's been reconstructed. I did time leap after all. Once again, I pick up this obnoxious document and stare it down. Effective today, A offers a loan of 3 million yen to B, which B accepts. It's dated August 12th of this year. In other words, yesterday. Apparently, I borrowed 3 million yen from Karone Shinpan Company. But why?
おかりん、何見てるの？
An unexpected voice met my ears. When I look up, Mayuri's innocent face was directly in front of mine. She chews away at a mouthful of Mitarashi Dango. From the looks of things, she's probably not aware of the contract. I casually return it to its original place, place my hand on Mayuri's shoulder, and let her back to the common room. I ask her just to make sure.
マユリ、300万円と聞いて何か思い当たることは？
For a second, Mayuri's eyes moved as if she were thinking something over. She stopped chewing.
マユシーが宝くじで当てた金額のことかな。
宝くじ？
ラボの共同資産を運用したの。みんなには内緒で、マユシーがこっそり買っちゃったんだ。できる主婦みたいでしょ。ってあれ？オカリ、さっきはここ数時間の記憶がないって言ってたよね。宝くじを当てたのは1ヶ月ぐらい前のことだけど、それも覚えてないの？
She's always been pretty sharp. Fortunately, I have a go-to method for situations like this. I held my head in my hands and started screaming.
頭が割れそうだ！
どうしたのオカリン？
機関によって埋め込まれたリコレクリジェクトアナイアレイト、通称 R2A が作動を始めたのだ。宝くじのことを思い出せなくなってしまったのはきっとそのため。
そんな大丈夫？
Huh, well that worked.
大丈夫かどうかはお前次第だ。
どういうこと？
奪われた記憶を取り戻すことによって R2A に逆向きの脳内パルスを送り込むことができる。そうすれば R2A を破壊することが可能なのだ。さあだから教えてくれマユリ。宝くじで当てた300万円はその後どうなった？
Mayuri balls her hands into tight fists, furrowed her brow, and spoke.
使っちゃったよ。
何に？
未来ガジェット魔改造計画に。
ガジェットを改良するための資金にしたというのか？
だってさっきも言ったけど、もともと宝くじはラボのお金で買ったものだったし、だからラボのためになるようなことに使おうってみんなで相談して決めたの。それに発明コンテストで大賞を取れば300万円はそっくりそのまま戻ってくることになるでしょ。というわけで未来ガジェット研究所の明るい未来に投資することにしたんだよ。あ、最後のはオカリンの言葉の受け売りだけど。
Yeah, it does sound like something he would say. Mayuri responded, swinging the half-eaten stick of Mitarashi Dango around with a stern look on her face.
ちなみにコンテストにはもう応募したのか？
締め切りは8月31日だから、それまではできるだけ改良を続けるって。ねえオカリン、本当に大丈夫？
Mayuri looks at my face with concern. I put my finger against my temples, shake my head lightly, and then speak.
ああ、もう大丈夫だ。R2A の破壊に成功したらしい。
よかった。
Mayuri sighs deeply and looks at me with twinkling eyes. Then, seemingly remembering the Mitarashi Dango in her hand, she takes another bite. What a simple life, Mayuri. That's one mystery solved. I now know where the funding for the Magic Mod project came from, but that was not the answer I was looking for. The contract is still shrouded in mystery. Why would I borrow 3 million yen? I didn't even have enough evidence to base any theories on. If this wasn't used to fund the Magic Mod project, then... could it be for the ransom? The idea blinked into my head. Maybe the kidnapper demanded 3 million yen in exchange for their hostage's life. Maybe that's why I needed to borrow the money. The price is fairly low by typical ransom standards, but if I were the target, it would make sense. There's no way a mere student like me could come up with hundreds of billions of yen. However, the kidnapping occurred only in the first world line. The Mayuri of this world line has neither gone missing nor become anyone's hostage. Wait, hostage? When I turned around, Mayuri was reaching for the third Mitarashi Dango skewer. Seemingly sensing my gaze, she slowly turned to face me. She laughed, embarrassed. Then she takes a bite of Mitarashi Dango. Her mouth is dripping. She licks the tear sauce off of her lips. Nothing has changed. Mayuri eating Dango with a blissful smile on her face. She regained that smile the day she became my hostage. Yes, we know the story. We've seen it like 90 times. Mayuri was 11 years old when her beloved grandmother died. After that, she had lost both her words and her smile. She might have lost her hearing too. No matter how many times I called her name, she never responded. Seriously, like I don't mind this backstory. It's sad and everything, and yeah, honestly, it's a great part of the story because it's fucking sweet and shit, and also sad. But do we really need to see this again when one of the last few routes included this? It was the cemetery where her deceased grandmother sleeps. For over half a year, Mayuri stood in front of her gravestone every single day, even on rainy days and windy days. I was in middle school back then, but because I was worried about Mayuri, I often went to the cemetery to check on her. Mayuri always stood in front of the gravestone, silently looking up at the sky. She looked so ephemeral. It was as if she could disappear at any moment. So I called her name over and over again to try and keep her here.
Mayuri? Mayuri?
But Mayuri never responded. Holding her pocket watch tightly in her hand, she just stared up into the heavens. That pocket watch was a keepsake from her grandmother, Mayuri's most important treasure. Mayuri always carried it with her. And that old antique pocket watch, it was quite a while later that I found out that it had a name, Pockety. And one rainy day, Mayuri stood in front of that gravestone, umbrella in hand, as she gazed up at the falling rain. The rain eventually subsided and light broke through the clouds. A phenomenon known as Rembrandt rays, or an angel's ladder. For a moment I lost myself in the beautiful sight before me. And then a gust of wind blew by and carried Mayuri's umbrella away. But Mayuri hardly seemed to notice. Slowly she reaches her hand toward the beckoning ray of light. It looked as though she was trying to grab onto an invisible ladder. She stands up at the very edge of her tiptoes, climbing, rising. She's going to be taken away. So without thinking, I grabbed Mayuri's wrist, and before I knew it, I was embracing her. I didn't realize how embarrassing those words were until I said them.
マユリは俺の人質だ。人体実験の生贄なんだ。
So to hide my experiment, I just started chaining words together. You mean your embarrassment? This line came from an enemy boss character from a hero drama that Mayuri and I were into. He was supposed to be a mad scientist, and I was good at impersonating him. said Mayuri in my arms. Her small shoulders shook.
マユシは人質なんだね。
Yes. The voice I hadn't heard for half a year was quiet and ragged, but very comfortable to my ear.
じゃあしょうがないね。
Mayuri said as she burrowed her face into my chest. Her warm tears seemed to permeate my skin. From that day, Mayuri became my hostage. As my hostage, Mayuri regained her words, but she still periodically visited the cemetery. I went with her every time, offering flowers with her. Every time we visited the graveyard, we made sure to stop by a food stall to eat dango. She always ordered a mitarashi dango. Mayuri, savoring the bite she'd taken, regained her usual smile. What's that? Suddenly, a muffled, bassy sound growled into the room. I heard a car door shut. Something feels wrong. I rush over to the window and look down. Ah, yes, that's totally normal. There's a single car parked in front of the Brontube workshop. A black SUV with tinted windows. It did not look friendly. But it was surrounded by something even further from friendly. Around the car... Hey, yo, what the fuck? What fucking cult-ass shit is this? These are not rounders. What the fuck? Stood men wearing black hoods.
おいおい待ってくれ。何なんだあいつらは。
What in the god darn fuck? Within their deep hoods, the men were wearing creepy masks. No, not just the masks. Everything about their appearance just seemed to drip with suspicion. Are these rounders? I eliminated the thought the moment it entered my head. These men are not rounders. Rounders don't stand out like that during surveillance. What's more, I know from other world lines that their raid is at another time. And then debt collectors? That possibility was also weeded out immediately. According to the contract, the repayment deadline wasn't until next year. There was no way they would come collect the money I just borrowed yesterday. But then who are these people? Then it hit me. I remembered the D-mail that was sent to Mayuri's cell phone. Oh, the Black Hoods. I get it. Maybe that was supposed to mean Black Hoods instead of Black Heads. Alright, so we're gonna fight them. But that would mean...
ねえねえ、どうしたの？オカリン。
When I turned around, I saw Mayuri running toward me.
バカ、しゃがめ。
I reactively grabbed Mayuri's head and pulled her down next to me.
ブラウン管工房の前に怪しい連中がいる。
スタン？
そうかもしれないが、おそらく違うだろう。
マユシンも見たいな。
ダメだ。
どうして？
There's no point in hiding it now. I told her without hesitation.
マイリー、よく聞いてくれ。お前は別の世界線で誘拐された。もしかしたらこの世界線でもさらわれることになるかもしれん。つまり何者かに狙われているんだよ、お前は。
Mayuri tilted her head slightly. And that was her response.
とにかく外にいる連中はその誘拐犯かもしれないんだ。もしそうだとしたらお前がここにいるとバレるのはまずい。だから
よくわからないけど、わかったよ。それじゃあマユシーは開発室の方に行ってるね。
Mayuri lays flat on the floor and then rolls toward the development room and disappears inside.
危機感ゼロだな。
I mutter to myself and then look out the window again. While Mayuri's overpowering tranquility nearly made me forget this was a dire situation. 5 mystery men stand in front of the Brontu workshop as if to block out path. You mean our path? The Oyama building is very closely surrounded by similar buildings on each side, but the entrance. There's no alternative way out. I thought about jumping from out the bathroom. Oh my god, it's like the further we get along with this game, the English gets somehow worse. Out the bathroom window to the building directly across from it, but when I took a closer look, I realized that the window of the other building was reinforced with steel fencing, so it would be impossible to sneak in. So in order to escape, I have to get down the stairs and past all 5 men with Mayuri in tow. But I didn't believe that would be possible. It would be hard alone, attempting to escape while leading Mayuri by the hand would be a fool's errand. Then what can I do? Seriously, game, what can do? Oh my god, it's seriously getting worse. How do I get out of this? The door to our lab is securely locked, but I knew from experience that the lock was brittle and could be broken with a kick. If those 5 men get in here, we're finished. Even I, a master of Saishin Zanma-style swordsmanship, am only human without a blade. Fighting 5 people to protect Mayuri may be too much for me to handle. At that moment, we have a call from payphone. My cell phone rang. I desperately take out my cell phone and open it. The screen read public phone, meaning that the caller isn't one of the men outside. Then who? Does it even matter at this point? I'll take anyone who can save us from this nightmare. With my hopes high, I press the answer button.
Okabe!
My ears were assailed by a booming voice so deep it sounded as though it were emerging from underground. But I recognized it.
山村先生。中学の頃の担任の。だったらお前は誰だ？名を名乗れ。
Yeah, we were way off there apparently.
マキセよ。マキセクリス。
Oh.
わからないの？
Oh no, I absolutely could not. Holy shit.
あ、ハットチャンネルはクリスか。ちょうどいいところに。
その2つ名はやめろ。
とにかく聞いてくれクリスティーナ。大変なことになったんだ。
大変なことになったのはこっちも同じ。全部あんたのせいなんだからね。
何が？
携帯を落としたのよ。
どこに？
トイレに水没させちゃったの。サルベージには成功したけど、うんともすんとも言わないわ。
つまり壊れたと。
そうよ。だからこうして公衆電話からかけてるんじゃない。
それはお悔やみ申し上げます。
ふざけてるの？
だがそれがどうして俺のせいになる？
あんたが突然開発評議会は中止だなんて言い出したからよ。買い出しの途中だったのにね。いきなり電話をかけてきて理由も告げずに一方的に評議会の中止を宣言した。だから私はむしゃくしゃして。
むしゃくしゃして？
このネカフェに。
ネットカフェにいるのかお前。
あ、今笑っただろ。
笑ってはいない。草を生やしただけだ。とにかくそのネットカフェのトイレに携帯を落としてしまったと。
そうだから全部あんたのせいなの。
I'm not really seeing the cause and effect at work here, but whatever. This isn't the time to quibble.
クリスティーナ、落ち着いたか？
何？
その様子だとどうやら留飲を下げてくれたようだな。
だから何なのよ。
では聞いてくれ。もう一度言う。大変なことになったんだ。
Told her everything that I'd gone through, everything about the suspicious men outside. I didn't leave a single detail out. After listening to my story, Kirisu let out a small sigh and spoke.
わかったわ。とにかく目下の最優先事項はマユリの身の安全を確保することにあると。
Everything falls silent. All I can hear from the cell phone is white noise. But it didn't last long. Somebody knocks on the door.
まさか。
どうしたの？
I take a quick look out the window. No one there. The men in black hoods that stood around the car had disappeared. Which would mean they're outside the door.
まずいことになった。今連中はドアの外にいる。
鍵は？
かかってる。だが、蹴破られるのは時間の問題だろう。
Another silence. My hands grow wet with perspiration. My cell phone almost slipped out of my right hand, but I used my left to support it. After a moment, Kirisu spoke.
私の言った通りにして考えがあるの。
考え？
質問は禁止よ。ドアの外に連中がいるんでしょ。時間がないの。さっさと動いて。
動くって言ったって何をすればいいんだ？
電話レンジの設定を D メールを送るの。
D メール？
質問は禁止って言ったはずだけど。
そうは言うが、詳しく説明してくれないと D メールの送りようが。
勘違いしないで。送るのはあんたじゃないから。この私が送るの。
え？
ほら、分かったらさっさと動く。
I wonder what she's gonna send. It seemed I had no choice but to follow her instructions. I jumped into the development room to set up the phone wave name subject to change. Mayuri was there. She sat in the corner of the room holding her knees, a pair of headphones on her head. It looks like she's listening to music on a portable music player. She looks at me and cocks her head. I hold up my hand to tell her not to move and mouth the words, "Don't worry." And then I activate the X68000. I put the cell phone in my ear again and spoke.
一つだけ聞かせてくれ。どうしてタイムリープではなく D メールなんだ？
別の世界線での私はタイムリープマシンは欠陥品だって言ったんでしょ。私は私の言葉を信じる。それだけ。
But I just made a successful time leap. I wanted to protest, but my words were wiped away by the sound of the doorknob rattling violently. It doesn't look like I have time to argue.
わかったよ。それで D メールの転送先と時刻は？
転送先は岡部の携帯。時刻は3時間前。タイマーを180秒にセットして。
なんで3時間前なんだ？
うるさいわね。いちいち質問が多いのよ。マユリを助けたくないの。
I click my tongue and do as she says. I wonder how this will all
終わっ
work.
たぞ。転送先は俺の携帯。タイマーは180秒にセットした。
それじゃあ今からきっかり3分後に電話レンジを起動して。頼んだわよ。
おい、ちょっと待てよ、どうして？
Before I could say 3 minutes, she'd hung up.
くそ。
The 3 minutes felt like an eternity as they passed by. They were punctuated by the continuous, raucous noise of the doorknob being twisted and shoved. The sound of knocking didn't stop either. I almost lost my mind worrying when the door would finally break open. On the other hand, Mayuri was happily tapping her fingertips, humming and otherwise enjoying her music. Then the time finally arrived. I have no idea when Kirisu is what Kirisu is scheming, but I thought that for now I need to trust her. I believe she can make something happen. With a prayer in my heart, I activate the phone wave named subject to change. A moment later comes the electrical discharge. Then my phone rang. When I look at my phone's screen, it displayed public phone just as it did earlier. It's Kirisu. What could have happened? I hurry to press the talk button on my phone.
ごめん、大至急 D メールの転送先を変えて。
なんだと？放電現象はすでに始まってるぞ。
いいから早く転送先をマユリの携帯に。気づいたのよ。その方が敵にバレる危険性が少ないって。
Intercept it? Countless questions run through my brain, but I didn't have the time to ask any of them. I've never changed recipients while electrical discharge was occurring. Will it work? I don't know, but I had no other choice. I had to try. I changed the recipient to Mayuri's cell phone just as Kirisu instructed.
できたぞ。
サンクス。ギリギリ間に合ったわね。これで全て完了よ。間もなくリーディングシュタイナーが発動するはず。私が書いたメール、遅延送信されるように設定しておいたの。だからもうすぐ。あ、そうそう。最後に一つだけ教えてあげるわ。
Oh, it's gonna get cut off, isn't it?
時刻を3時間前にした理由。今は18時18分でしょ。私はね、マユリを助けると同時に壊れた携帯も救いたかったの。
Oh.
じゃあ、あとはよろしく。
Okay, well, selfishness aside, I guess. After she hung up, I realized I had failed to ask her one important thing. What did the D-mail say? But that question soon melted away into the distorting world in front of me. Well, I guess the D-mail worked, so there's that. We're still high up there. I shut my eyes tightly and waited for the usual nausea to fade away. When my sense of balance returned to me, I slowly opened my eyes. I could see someone standing in front of me. It's Kirisu. Yep.
どうしたの？顔色悪いみたいだけど。
Yeah, I'm sure we do. Alright, that is the end of this episode. Thank you all for watching. Next time we'll see what's going on in this fourth world line. Yes, we're in our fourth now. Holy shit, we are jumping so goddamn much. And I have no idea what's happening. I don't even know who these masked men are supposed to be, but whatever. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.